Hello, hello, hello. It's Tuesday. True Sky Tuesday. Yay. Yay. Let's learn about the true sky. Let's learn about what's going on with the celestial bodies and placements this week. Oh, sharing. Sharing is caring. Just hang on. I was just sending out an invite. That is so weird. I'm glad I clued into that. For some reason, I think it's grabbing contacts from my phone. Anyway, that's interesting. Hello, hello. All right, I think I have all the ones that I want to send an invite to on this channel. And let's send it on the other channel. Hello. So we're going to talk about the true sky, and we're going to look at the week ahead and what we can expect with the energies. That's what we do here on Tuesdays. So definitely stick around if you're interested in learning about that. The true sky. Hi, Lawrence. All right. Nikki. I'm just sharing on TikTok here. I'm on multiple channels live at this moment. So if I'm not looking at you or you're wondering what I'm doing, that's what I'm doing. Or if you're watching the recording and you see me doing this and wondering what I'm doing, that's what I'm doing. And if you give me a moment, if you're saying hi or commenting in any way, I'm not seeing it right now because I'm just trying to finish doing this part here. Which involves remembering who you left off with each time, if you want to send it out and not duplicate it anyway. Yeah. Say hi. Let me know which channel you're on, please. Okay. I'll step back in a moment. I realize I'm quite close to the camera. I will step back. We're going to talk about the true sky, using True Sidereal. It's weird. I feel like I sent, but anyway, everybody has received it now, so that's good. Okay, so we're going to talk about the celestial alignment from today until next week. Next Tuesday. We do this every Tuesday, week by week. We go through the alignments, and we are using the astrological system called True Sidereal. So there are multiple formats of, hello, love. Love you, Jess. I have my comments over here. That's why I will look over here. I have a second monitor. So I have StreamYard on my computer, and then I have 2 different streams on each of my other devices so that I am streaming on all the channels that I want to be on. But I put the comments over there because otherwise I just don't see them. So if you see me looking over there, I'm looking at comments on either Facebook or Facebook or YouTube, just to help. Hi, Dawn. It's been a while. How are you, love? Hi, Pumpkin. So we're going to talk about a few things. And if learning about the true sky and how to work with the living sky isn't of interest to you, that's okay. Maybe that doesn't mean that I'm totally something that doesn't interest you, because maybe you're interested in learning about Christ consciousness or living the Krystic pathway or other things. I worked helping. Hi, how are you, love? I started working as, oh my God, I've had so many jobs. Okay, who here has, put up your hand if you've had like a lot of jobs? Like for those that are watching, let me know in the comments how many different jobs that you've had. Hello, sweetie. I've had so many, mostly because it was just really terrifying when I was in high school. I remember thinking, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? And I was like, oh my goodness, so long. What am I going to do for all of that? I couldn't, it was so hard to choose. And, so I did all kinds of different jobs. Yeah. And some people have that continuity where they've done the same thing and they have 30 years at it. I mean, I'm 51, so I've done a few things, and I also have 20 years of nursing underneath my belt. But I worked, oh my goodness, I've done door-to-door sales. I tried selling cars for a while. I tried radio for a while. I worked as a healthcare aide. I worked as a registered nurse. I ran heavy equipment, working in construction. I did body work and tried to get a painting apprenticeship. I was a computer programmer for a number of years. That's what I did in school. The first time around was computer programming systems analyst. So I worked in a bunch of different computer programs stuff, and then like everything else. So a lot of different things. And then I started my own company and I got into helping with trauma. So after I left nursing, the reason I left nursing, partly to do with what's going on and awakening, further awakening, and seeing the system for what it is. But I also left because of the pandemic, and that's doesn't matter what your belief system is around that. That was just when I chose to leave, right? It doesn't matter if you're pro-vaccine or anti-vaccine or you're pro-COVID or pro-government or whatever. It doesn't matter. I left because it just wasn't aligned with me anymore. And the reason why was because I did my healing, and I waited until my whole system collapsed. And when my system finally collapsed and I got really, really sick, I actually got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And maybe that was a mistake. That's what they'd like to say. But when I got really sick, that's when I said, something's got to change, because I wasn't ready to stop working. I wasn't ready to, just be the end of my days. Like I wasn't ready for any of that. And, when you're looking at a disease like multiple sclerosis, like that has a very negative pathway to it, including everything that happens up into including your death, right? Like it's like the whole journey. Oh, there's like a dog hair on the screen. And I thought it was on I'm like, there's a hair on me. No, it was on my screen. So when I was really sick and I couldn't do it anymore. So I spent time trying to heal from the multiple sclerosis, and in the process revealed the absolute ridiculous traumas that I had experienced and the fact that I needed to heal them. And that's really what I needed to heal. It wasn't anything else. I just needed to adjust my life and get into alignment. And for many people, this sounds true or resonates with them really well. For some, though, this brushes up against a belief system and it can feel really, really uncomfortable. And what I mean is, some of us, and society has done it this way, has built us to be victims and to stay in that position because people make money off you being a victim. It's true and it's sad, but it's still true. But a lot of people will follow things that support their belief system. And some of the things that support their belief systems are often, I can't do it because it's too hard, it's too expensive, it's this, that, or the other thing. But what ends up being is that there's just a lot of excuses that are put there. And you don't need money to look inside yourself and question why you do the things that you do. You don't need anything. And even if your life isn't great, you can still do that. And I would say a number of different times that I should be a study in, like, a course in miracles. When I look at the life that I've had and what I've experienced, you know, in my 51 years and where I am, it is literally miraculous. And, you know, I started from very humble beginnings, from a teenage mom who was she was 17, she's 16 turning 17 when she had me. You know, like to them, you know, to abuse, lots and lots of it, to divorces, so abandonment issues, and all of this happening in those first 7 years, significant abuse. Like you wouldn't even, I mean, some of you might, because you've experienced it too. So all of those things, and on and on and on and on and on, all of those things, right? To go through all of those, and to have been homeless, and now to have a nonprofit where I help the homeless, right? To go from being in that position to, you know, to the space that I'm in now is beautiful. And it wasn't because I got, like, you know, it wasn't because somebody fixed it for me. It was because I did the work. I was the one that had to question why my patterns keep showing up. Why do I keep doing these? Why do these things happen? One of the things I did when I was healing was I looked at, you know, what's interesting? Every guy that I've ever dated and got with ended up cheating on me in some way. So do I make the determination that all men are cheaters, or do I look at what is the common denominator in all of my relationships? And for me, that was where I made the determination I was the common denominator in all my relationships. So if none of your relationships are, like, really healthy, they have good boundaries, and, you know, if you're in a place where you don't even know what good boundaries are, then I suggest this free group that I have on Facebook called Calm Spaces. There's a lot of stuff in Calm Spaces, 211 here. There's a lot of stuff in that free group, including I would do this weekly process of walking you through what Calm Spaces is. And if you have children who need to learn emotional regulation, I have it written for children. I'm going to grab it off my shelf. I figure I might as well just grab the 3 of them. So these are the 3 first children's books that I wrote. But if you're looking for a technique, and an adult could read this as well, right? It's fine to read this. What it is it's a technique that is called Calm Spaces, and it's a combination of two of them. Aww. Kyla, set up a free call with me. Honestly. It's right on my website. It's a free half-hour call. Just set it up with me. I'll give you some techniques. Like, I'll give you some stuff to help. I have a whole bunch of them, and it'd literally be my pleasure to help you so that you can help him. Yeah, absolutely. So this book is called Jessie Learns to Create Calm Spaces. Calm Spaces is a technique that takes 2 different things and brings them together to just amplify that technique. So what it does is it takes color theory, which we are emotionally tied to certain colors. Certain colors evoke specific emotions within us, and that'll be different for you than it is for me. You know, for me, joy may be yellow, and for some people, joy is pink. And, you know, although yellow is a really common color for joy to be represented. What this does is it gets you to first identify the color that you have already associated with positive feelings. And the reason why is because then when you get to the part in the 4-element mindfulness technique, which is the second part of the book, or the other technique that this book demonstrates, it goes through the elements, and the earth element is asking you to ground. So this book teaches you how to ground your body. The wind element is about breathing, so about slowing down and deepening your breath. The water element is about wetting your palate, and there's 2 ways you can do it. You can either take a sip of water and hold it in your mouth, roll it around, and then slowly drink it. So you're drinking slowly and you're keeping it in your mouth to stimulate your saliva production. The reason why is because when we become anxious or panicky, or even in a completely checked out state, a lot of times that altered nervous system state, we're not in rest and digest, means that you're not producing saliva. So you get dry mouth. Like if you've ever been like really panicked or really nervous, like really anxious, and you get that, like you can't even swallow, right? Ever had to stand up on stage and speak and you're like, you can't even speak because you feel like someone just fired sawdust into your mouth, or, they just sucked all the water out of you and you're just like, what? That's because you're not in rest and digest. You're in fight, flight, and your body is saying, I don't got time for that. I want to fight whatever there is or get away from whatever there is. I've got to get away from this. So the book goes through and it teaches you this technique to wet your palate or suggest the water. And then the fire element. The fire element is about firing up your imagination. If I'm having a panic attack, or, I'm experiencing anxiety, if I let my mind continue to engage and entertain those thoughts, then the other stuff that I'm doing probably isn't going to work very well, because it's like 2 opposing forces. It's my brain going, let's fear, 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 fear. And my body's going, let's slow down. But my brain's like, no, 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 no. Right. So this is just so you have to use your imagination. When we get to the fire up your imagination part, that's where you pull the color in again. So if your color for joy happens to be yellow, then you're going to think of images in the color of yellow. Even if you just flood your mind with different shades of yellow, it's going to bring joy to your body because that's the color that's associated with it. I wrote this book from a different perspective. A lot of books would be written from the perspective of a single mom and her dealing with her child with anxiety. I wrote it in the reverse. I wrote the book that it is she's from a separated home. But when she's at her dad's and she's going to go back to her mom, she experiences anxiety as she's leaving him. So her dad learns calm spaces and gets the book. And then the next time that she's over and she experiences anxiety, he takes her through the technique. He teaches her how to do it. So I took it from that aspect. It's a beautiful book. And, like I said, and it also has these pages at the back that are color coded. And I did that on purpose because then you can tear it out. That whatever child buys this book can tear it out and carry it with them. And then it'll remind them, it'll show them the color that they have associated with either whatever emotion they've tied it to. And it takes them through the steps of what to do in order to go through calm spaces. So it's a beautiful book. And that was the first children's book that I wrote and published. And I have 19 books published now with different things. The 2 latest books that I have out are Tiana, which is book 5 of the Unlikely Heroine Chronicles. It's Tiana and the Phoenix who refuses to burn. And this is really about self-identity, right? And just being who you are. This is a water phoenix I'd like to introduce you to. This water phoenix is just content to be themselves. And that's what it's teaching children. And then Infinite Wonders, The Universe Has No End. This one's targeted at children who want to, or I guess parents that would get this for their children are parents who know that, the universe, that we're all connected, unity consciousness, stuff like that. So it's, the universe expands with you. We'll just do a little read on this chapter. The universe expands with you. It has all these beautiful pictures in it. Every time you dream, explore, and grow, the universe grows too. You are a part of the great unfolding. And with every new idea you have, you add something beautiful into existence. Activity. Imagine your thoughts turning into tiny stars that float into the sky. What kind of light are you adding to the universe today? So it has all these beautiful pictures in it. The back of the books were all these books were all designed so that they open up into an expanded picture. Each chapter, there are a couple of pages, the pictures on each side, and at the end of each chapter, there's an activity to do with your child or with the class if you are a teacher, educator, or of that sort. Okay, we veered way off topic, but I don't care. I was having fun and I enjoyed it because we're talking about the living sky today. We're talking about what the celestial alignments are right now. And I work with the living sky. There are many forms of astrology out there. There is mainstream, traditional, tropical, or seasonal is what it could be called. Now, the mainstream or tropical astrology is based on the stars being frozen approximately 2,000 years ago. There is sidereal. Now, sidereal takes into consideration that the stars actually did move. So when considering that, the planets it's all shifted, right? It's all shifted. And it's more closely to the true sky. Now, True Sidereal is a step deeper, and that's because there are 3 rotations that the Earth makes, and Sidereal only considers 2 of them, whereas True Sidereal considers the 3rd one. The other thing is that they consider the additional sign of Ophiuchus, so there's 13 signs because we are meant to live with 13 months, right? Hi, Pankush. So I like to teach the living sky because as someone who is spiritual and identifies as aligning with the truth, and I feel that when we are doing things that is out of alignment with the energies, that we put ourselves in a position that we're looshing energy. And that's what gets harvested. Okay. And so we don't want to be doing that. We don't want to be wasting our energy, right? If we look at it even at that way, we don't want to be wasting our energy. So if we're coming into a new moon, for instance, the last new moon was in the sign of Sagittarius, and that was the second new moon in Sagittarius back to back. That if you're harnessing the energy of a new moon in rituals or in rites or anything like that, why wouldn't you want to be harnessing the energy of the sign that the moon is physically in? Why would you want to harness the energy of the moon in the sign that it would be in if the sky had not changed in 2,000 years? Right? So for me, that doesn't align with me. There's you can use that astrology. You absolutely can use tropical astrology, but just know that you're not working with the sky as it actually is. And, one thing that we should all understand is there's multiple ways to do these things. And if somebody's using tropical astrology, it's probably like that's their thing. Let them do it. Right? I've seen a lot of people, they get really mad if you say anything about, like according to True Sidereal, this would be the, where the sun actually, or where the moon is. And they get very mad when you say that. It's like you're destroying their whole entire thing. And it's like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Hi. Okay, so we're going to talk about the alignments, the celestial alignments. And this is using, like I said, True Sidereal. And you can confirm everything that I'm saying if you go and look at a real live sky app, or, like Stellium on your phone. You can get the livesky.com on your computer as a website. And I'm sure there's others out there, guaranteed. Those are just the 2 that I'm thinking of off the top of my head. So, by all means, check them out. And thank you for commenting, Pinkush. It all helps. So do the likes on all of them. Whenever you like on the live, it definitely helps me to get out further on the algorithm and stuff like that. And while I would like to say I don't care about that because I'm not here for that, but at the same time, we are still living within the system, even if we're trying to create the new one at the same time. So each Tuesday, we orientate to the real sky and we learn how to walk with the celestial field from one week to the next. That's the purpose of Tuesday's lives. And we do this without rushing or bypass. That's why I was a little bit late today. I tried to start my live at 1:44, but I was on a phone call and my phone was almost dead, so I had to charge it. And then for one moment, I thought, I gotta, right? I did that kind of energy. I did that. And next thing you know, I'm dropping my phone and it's popping out of its holder and I'm catching on things. And I'm like, wait, there's no rush. So I'm going to be a little bit late for my live, but that's okay. It's better than breaking something because, the universe is just throwing these things at you, like slow down, right? You're just going to drop your phone again, forget something in the other room and have to run back and get it, and running back to get it, you'll get caught on the door handle. It's that kind of energy, right? So you just have to slow down and just breathe. So this is not prediction that I'm doing. It has nothing to do with prediction. It is alignment. So we're just aligning with the true sky. So all we're doing here, there's nothing threatening in that. It's actually a good thing. It's a good thing. Okay. I'd like to start every live this way. Breath in and out. Settle into your body. Because most of us don't. We stay up in our head, right? And let's just soften. Hi, John. Canadian. All right. So right now we have the sun in Capricorn, and as I like to call that, Big Daddy energy. And we've got Mercury, Venus, and Mars, and Pluto, also in Capricorn. So we have 5 planets creating this stellium. And that's a lot of Capricorn energy. And Capricorn is structured. Capricorn is like really Big Daddy energy is one of the best ways to encapsulate Capricorn energy. It's grounded, it's earthy, it's, it is the legacy energy. This is very structured. It's the one that gets up every day, day after day, because it understands that discipline is devotion to your highest timeline or your highest mission, your highest self. It's that devotion. I was wondering if I said it slow enough, if Carol would end up completing the sentence. We also have Saturn still in Pisces, which is dissolving that fantasy, and it's reinforcing embodiment. Because Saturn is the governing planet of Capricorn. So that's where it gets that kind of law and order and like structure and like energy. So Capricorn, Saturn in Pisces is bringing that order to your spirituality. That's what it's doing. It's saying, okay, enough with the games. You're going to get called on it. It's time for embodiment. It's time to be real. And that's what the stellium is really, really hammering home. Especially, like I said, we've got that beautiful Saturn in Pisces asking us to be real with our spirituality. So as an example of what that means, I'm going to use religious term instead. But if you're a Christian, what does that actually mean? And do you live it every day? Because that's what it's calling you to do. It's saying it's time to stand where your mouth is, right? If you're claiming that you're spiritual, well, what are you doing that's spiritual? Do you say you're spiritual, or do you actually have a practice, right? Are you doing what you're here to do, right? Are you following your highest mission? Are you in alignment? And Capricorn's going to call you to it. So we've also got the moon, and we like to look at the moon because the moon moves through every two, well, if it's Ophiuchus, it's less, or, Ophiuchus and Scorpio are fairly short, just a little over a day each. And then they can be as long as 3 days because a sign like Leo is a bit larger. So it takes a little bit longer to transition through that constellation. That's the other thing that True Sidereal does. It doesn't just put everything in an equal piece of a pie, 12 pie slices, sorry. It doesn't make a pie like that because there's 13 signs and they're all different sized constellations. So the pie pieces are all different. It's like someone weird cut the pie. It would probably make someone with OCD really about looking at a wheel that has all 13 signs in it because it wouldn't be equal. And you just have to be okay with that because the constellations aren't the same size, right? So this week, though, the moon moves through Taurus today, into Gemini on Thursday, and then into Cancer on Saturday. And then we begin February. And I want you all to look at the calendar. February is the perfect month. This is how all of our months are meant to be. It starts on a Sunday on the 1st and it ends on the Saturday on the 28th. Exactly how our months are meant to be, and 13 of them. Okay, so this week is about refinement, not expansion, because of that energy. Sorry, just a notification on my computer. All right. Make sure I'm not missing any messages on there. Perfect. Okay. So Capricorn integration. This is about stabilizing the structure. So after initiation, it's just weird. Like my computer, my printer just made a noise. I was just weird. There's no reason for it to just have hello. Anyway, those messages, right? They're just like chick, chick, checking things. Yeah, it just it's starting to do something right now. But every time I look at it, yeah, okay. Anyway, back to reality. Capricorn. So after initiation comes integration. And this phase of Capricorn season asks a different question than we did last week. It's not what am I building? Now is can what I'm building actually hold me? So we're still refining, right? We're refining because we want to make sure whatever we're building as a legacy is actually sustainable. Capricorn doesn't want to build on sand, and he doesn't want to build on a shaky foundation, and he doesn't want to build really, 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 really fast because it's going to topple. It's not going to be, you want to make sure that it's strong. So with the sustained Capricorn stellium, which is interesting because we moved through a stellium in Sagittarius just before we got to the stellium with Capricorn, like everything moved like boom, boom, boom together. So now we have this other stellium. So this pressure reveals the weak points though. And it's not to punish, it's to correct. So it's all about continuing to refine things. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's mastery. And that's what Virgo would be really good at, is refining and mastery, not perfectionism, not criticism. That's not the true Virgo energy. So we've got, my brain dropped where I was with my Capricorn energy. Okay. So this is where capacity matters. If something requires constant effort, constant force, or even just you're forcing it or self-neglect, it's not aligned. So you have to start looking at the things that are coming up in your life. Where is something where you feel like you're really, really forcing it? Like, oh, come on, right? Or, you're just neglecting yourself. Where are those things? Because that Capricorn doesn't want us doing that anymore. I mean, we shouldn't be doing them anyway. And in order for you to handle what's coming next, you have to do the work with the capacity of your nervous system, right? If you get nervous when you've got like $1,000 in your pocket, then you're not going to be able to handle $1 million. So Capricorn integration is about adjusting commitments. right? Strengthening boundaries and simplifying your systems, and then removing any strain before it becomes burnout. Very important, because stability is not stagnation, it is coherence over time. You are building stability. It's not you just one and done, right? You continue to work with it, right? It's kind of like the concept of a relationship. You know, if you're not putting love into the relationship isn't going to last. Like, it's just, there has to be that energetic exchange, right? And it has to be healthy. Otherwise, it's gonna go. So it's the same thing with what you're doing, you know, in concepts of your mission or your healing or whatever. Whatever you're doing with that, you want to make sure that you're just getting more and more into coherence. You're just refining and aligning, Okay. All right. So our moon flow that we have this week is the, oh, I lost my note. Okay. All right. Sorry. I just, like I said, I just closed it. Okay. All right, we're back. All right, we got our moon. I know I said we have the moon in Taurus on the 27th, and then it moves into Gemini on the 29th, and then it moves into Cancer on the 31st. So it's the entire weekend that the moon, or all the way until the weekend that we're seeing a transition with the moon. So when we have the Taurus moon, this is very grounded, very nourishing, and it's all about restoring your physical stability. The Gemini moon, which comes in, like I said, on Thursday, this is about processes and communicate simply, like that's what it's asking us for, and to avoid overthinking. So you may have to exercise a little more effort on Thursday so that you're not overthinking and spiraling, since that's the energy, right? Gemini is very fast mind energy, very fast mental energy governed by Mercury. And then on the Saturday, we move into the Cancer moon, and we will start February with the Cancer moon. This is where it's going to ask us to tend to our emotional needs. It's going to ask us to also protect our energy and to create safety. This lunar sequence is going to teach us that building also requires care. The body must be fed, the mind must be clear, and the heart must feel safe. Because if not, then you're building from the wrong structure, the wrong foundation, right? You're going to be building out of fear or out of urgency or some other distortion. So this week it supports pacing yourself. So it isn't about running 100-meter dash. Capricorn is like, he's a long distance runner. So that's the energy that we're in. This is about what's going to go the distance for us. And it's a beautiful energy. Like, if you're building something, build it now with Capricorn and harness the energy of it. Allow it to help you refine yourself. But also realize that it's not all work. There's play too. And Capricorn can sometimes stray from that energy because, like I said, it is that big daddy energy. So allow yourself to play. Allow yourself to embrace that as well. And you need to rest. We need that. And many of us don't rest. We think we're resting, but we're resting while being engaged doing something. We don't actually step away and stop doing stuff. I've started making an afternoon ritual and I quite love it. I'm going to post a video of it on my social media. But it's my tea making ritual that I do in the afternoon. So I make a loose leaf tea, Sometimes I have milk, sometimes I don't. It depends. I only have milk in my Earl Grey with bergamot, my one loose leaf tea, because it's just, I like it with the milk. But I make my tea, and because it's loose leaf tea, and you could do this with a tea bag anyway, but I take the loose leaf tea out, and as I'm putting it in the compost, I say, I bless the earth. And then I bless the water as I stir the tea. And then as I blow on it, I bless the wind or the breath, right? I bless the fire that created it, that got it ready. And then when I sip it, I bless the spirit or the ether. So I bless all the elements. And then I go and I sit and I watch the sunset. And my dog watches it too. He lies on his bed right in front of me, and we just watch the sunset. And I don't do anything. I don't spend the time on my phone. I don't spend the time on TV. I don't have a radio on. I don't have anything on. It's just me, silence, staring at a sunset, drinking a tea. But do that. I mean, it doesn't have to be a tea. You can do that with anything. If you're eating, you can bless the earth because the food came from the earth, right? You can bless the waters, depending on what you're eating. You can bless the fire that cooked it. If it was cooked food, you could bless the breath, right? You could bless the spirit. The spirit could be the spirit of the animal if you're eating a meat, right? You can bless other things. But I love doing this little routine with tea because I feel like I can bless all the elements, and I kind of dig it. All right. The other thing, very important. So reinforcing boundaries. Remember that your boundaries are for you, right? And they will teach you who is respectful, who's not, right? It teaches you who you're in right relationship with if they're not, not paying attention to your boundaries. But the boundaries are very important for you. And then choosing that sustainability. What can you sustain rather than just doing it just because? We want to avoid adding any new obligations this week. And we want to avoid ignoring any fatigue symptoms. If you're tired, rest. And we also want to stop pushing through discomfort as proof. Many of us do. I need a hero cookie because, I did it. I did it even though it hurt. I did it even though and we almost want that like clap on the back or that celebration because we muscled through something. You're not meant to. You're not meant to push through that discomfort. The discomfort is a messenger. It's telling you something and you're supposed to listen to it. What does it say? What is it telling you? So Capricorn respects those who listen. So are you someone who listens? Are you someone who listens? So on Tuesday, we're going to continue with Capricorn's lessons as the moon brings fresh emotional and relational insights, because that's what the moon is moving through our emotional landscape. So while right now the sun, which is our expression, is fixed in Capricorn for a while yet, and while Mercury, Mars, and Venus are faster moving signs, they still do not transition the speed that the moon does. So the emotional landscape changes more frequently than the mental landscape, than the magnetism, desire, relational energy, the receiving energy of Venus. It changes slower than the Mars, masculine energy, forward momentum, creation, movement energy. But the moon changes all the time. And if you're someone with emotions, you probably realize that that's accurate. It's on point 4404. Been online for 44 minutes. And my time says 44:42. That's what time it is for Carol. I get to look at it on this clock. It's 2:40. It's 2:43 for me. So yeah, on Thursday, I decided that instead of talking about Christ consciousness this Thursday, although I'll probably talk about it a little bit, but what I'm going to talk about is bridge to light and awakening and stuff like that. So It's a little bit off of the usual. 4:44 right now on the time, 44:44. But I do have some announcements to make. I do offer True Sidereal, and I call them Krystic astrology readings. There's also soul stream readings and soul alignment sessions. I'm busy putting my site together, but I had done a whole bunch of work on my site and I lost it. So I have to start over with some of the stuff. So the readings are on there. If you have any questions about the readings, like there's a page that just lists them out, but there's no links to purchase them. If you have any questions about it, you can always send me an email or sign up for a free clarity call and we can discuss it. Because I can always, I'm getting on it as quickly as I can to get them up there. But yeah. So I have reoffered Bridge to Light Phase 1, and I'm going to stand by it because I've already put out content saying that I was going to. And I was thinking about it and I said no, and then I went yeah, and then I went no, and then I went yeah, and then I did it. And then now I'm thinking that, you know, no. But anyway, my indecision is your win. And so what that is that I have decided to offer Bridge to Light at the rate of, and this is Phase 1, at $111 until the end of February. This is a 6-week deep dive into trauma, shadow work, all of that. It is 12 sessions. There's meditations and workbooks and student handouts, and like it's a huge program. It was originally $888, and I have decided to just do for February $111. I was hesitating. I wanted to release something that was kind of like an intro into Bridge to Light Phase 2 kind of thing. And then I thought, well, I'll just do Bridge to Light Phase 1. But I think that many of you are looking for something smaller. So I am putting together a small course right now. This course is going to be a 10-day course. So it's not it's self-paced. There's going to be 5 sessions. I suggest you do every other day, do one of the lessons. Yeah, sorry. I thought I got another error message on my thing and I was like, what? Why is it giving me errors? No. Where did it go? Okay. Sorry, I had to find it again. And I didn't even grab it anyway. I closed all my web pages down. Like I closed everything down on my computer, everything. So I feel like a newbie now. But I did want, I was talking to my friend about it and explaining, what I was going to be teaching coming up. And yeah. No, I can't remember where it was. Oh my goodness. Maybe this one. Yep. Okay. Found it. Found it. Okay. So I'll talk about this course. This course is going to be as well launched for $111 Canadian. So if you're American or in the UK, super inexpensive. What this course is going to cover is module 1 is orientation. So this is about coming back into the body and the present moment. So it's going to include some grounding meditations, breath awareness, and simple somatic settling. So the outcome for this one module, which you'll do, like I said, you can pace it as much as you want, But you could I would suggest at least giving a day in between each of the things so you can sit with that one lesson and do it a couple of times. Maybe even do it over 3 days, right? Do it 3 times in a row and then move to the next session and the next session. But it's at your pace. So this is going to be all recorded and you can just purchase it and do it at your time and space. So module 2 is internal reference, and this is reconnecting to self-trust and inner sensing. So we're going to have some heart-centered practices. We're going to do some inner listening, and I'm going to teach you how to get some body-based yes-nos. And the outcome of this is I know how to check in with myself. Module 3 is going to be emotional regulation, and this is about letting emotions move without analysis. So I'm going to do some breath and sound work. We're going to do some simple emotional release practices and some non-story based processing. The outcome is I don't have to fix everything to feel okay. Module 4 is energetic hygiene, and it is about clearing daily accumulations. The tools are going to be simple clearing practices, boundaries without drama, and closing loops energetically. The outcome of this one is I can reset myself. Module 5 is the final module of this session or of this course, and it is the integration module. And this is about living from center. So this is going to give you some short daily rhythms that you can use, and it's about choosing less, not more. The outcome is I feel more stable in my day-to-day life. So this is going to be $111 Canadian. And if there's an issue for you with that $111 price, then get on a phone call with me and maybe there's something that we can do. Maybe there's some way that energetically you can repay me in a different way. I don't know, but it's worth a conversation. At least send me an email if you don't want to have a call and explain what you're looking for. All of my big courses have scholarships available for those who wanted to take Bridge to Light Phase 1 when it was at its full price. You could have applied for a scholarship and I may have given you 100% off the entrance for that. But for some reason, when you say that, people must not hear you, because I'm really, really surprised at how few people have jumped on an opportunity to heal their trauma, especially in this day and age. But alas, here we are. Anyway, let this recording reach those it's meant to hear and let them come to interact with me when they're ready and it's all aligned, right? And divinely timed. Yeah, I thought I was pretty good to work with. I'm kidding. I know I am. I'm not even gonna enter that as a thought. The snow's melting in Alberta. That's how warm it is here. Everybody knows how much I do not like the cold. And I moved back to Alberta because of my nonprofit, Hugs for Homeless. And when I everybody was was laughing at me about the weather and stuff. And now in Ontario and stuff, their weather's worse than ours. It's sitting right at 0 right now. Right on the nose. It feels like +2 though. So I don't know how the bare temperature is less than the feels like temperature. I don't know how that works. I don't understand. Weather people are the only people that can make up stuff and still get paid. It's just like, I just know it's warm out there because there's water on my deck and the snow that was there is going away. Right? I'm going to go for a really nice walk with my dog. He's very much looking forward to it. I told him I'd take him on a nice long walk. So we'll go down the back of the property and I'll walk around on the 40 acres. And especially when it's warm like this and the snow's kind of melting and stuff, it makes it a good time to go and reinforce or pack down some of the trails back there. You got to keep walking on them. You got to keep walking on them to keep them able to be walked on. And I hit a one point where we had 60 centimeters that in December we got really hammered. and I lost access to the trails. So once the snow melted a couple weeks ago, I've been continuing to go through the trails as much as possible. And this continued melting is going to be just beautiful. I'm sure you can see the sun. I'm going to turn you guys like you can see the water. It's very nice out. Oops. You can do the same thing for you guys. But those on the other channel, you guys are kind of out of luck. Sorry. Oh, get back here. We went on a real ride there. Right? It's beautiful out. So that's my plan. I'm going to go do that. And then I'm going to have afternoon tea when the sun's setting, with my little routine of blessing my tea. I think I'm going to do a little bit more work today, but I don't have a plan to work until 9 or 10 or 11. I've done enough of that. Yeah, check out the readings, like I said, for the True Sidereal Krystic readings. I have a whole bunch of them that are there. And if you have any questions about it, you can always ask me and I will fill you in until I get the rest of the stuff back up. But like I said, I had everything done. I was working on the CMS on the back end. And I mean, these are things you don't even need to know. But anyway, and then I lost it. I just need to... but the Krystic snapshot reading is the entry-level reading. It is beautiful. I showed Carol today how it looks, and it's beautiful. It's deep. It's you're gonna love it. So do connect with me, and yeah, I love you guys. All right, I'm going to go and enjoy this wonderful, wonderful weather here while I can, and go spoil my dog a little bit and go and interact with my sanctuary that's here. Go find some peace, go have some joy, and go spread some love. How about that as commands for you guys? And I love you. All right, bye guys. I will see you guys. Hug your kiddos. Tell them I say hi. Tell every one of them I say hi. Hey, Jerver. Okay, good. Mwah. I was about to say about Jackson's book that I have, his signed copy of my book, about sending it to him. And I was like, but every single time I go to send it to him, we get a mail strike in Canada. So I should probably or else we'll be on strike again. Hi, Roxanne. All right, I'm off, you guys. I love you. I'll see you back here on Tuesday. We're going to talk about like embodiment and bridge to light and stuff like that. We're talking about a bunch of things, but we'll have a lot of fun. Mwah. Love you guys. If I do it in the right order, we always get the exit song.